Arcade-style spaceship shooting games, or shoot-'em-ups, have never been particularly popular in the West, and I'm not quite sure why. But if you've ever played one of these games and we're sort of interested in getting to know more about the genre, really there's a ton of games out there that were never released in the West, only released in Japan. And it's a really cool genre to get into, albeit a little bit inaccessible. So this video is hopefully going to help you out in that regard. What I've done is put together sort of a flight of games, and you can play through these games one after the other, and the idea is that it'll sort of lead you from more of a comfortable Western gaming experience all the way to like classic shoot-'em-up gaming, and hopefully sort of draw a path out for you to make the experience a little bit more accessible. So without further ado, let's get to it.
Yeah, that's right. A Mario game. Now, some of you might be WTFing right now, but I assure you, this is not a troll. If you've played this game, you might not remember that 2 levels are, in fact, auto-scrolling shooter levels. There is no better way to start a list about video games than with Mario, the quintessential icon of video gaming. The fact that shooting action has been inserted into one of the most popular games franchises of all time is a testament to how much Japanese gamers truly love shooting games. Heck, Mario is even shown exiting a spacecraft at the beginning of some levels. Super Mario Land shows how seamlessly shooting action can be even a transient part of a game like Mario Land. What's more, the shooting levels of Super Mario Land are the highlight of the game, including a funny submarine firing torpedoes in Stage 2, and a ridiculous gyrocopter for the very last level and final boss fight. In this incarnation, the shooting levels serve almost as comic relief for a fairly difficult game in which some mostly breezy shooting action is a breath of fresh air injected into the middle of a series of tight platforming levels. What a perfect way to experience shooting for the first time.
In a strange twist, this infamous game about a Russian circus performer gone ham feels more like a shooting game than a platformer. Karnov's entrance can only be described as badass, as he forms into a fat Russian man from inside a stream of hot electrified plasma, and his brutal fireball blasting attack bears little resemblance to his purported fire-breathing abilities. The odd item system does seem out of place in a game like this, but it does help with character development and adds a lot of personality to the hero that complements this game well. Karnov's floaty jump mechanics and the lack of much challenge in the level layout makes the levels feel more for show, like in most classic shooters. As such, you'll be mostly worried about dodging bullets and hammering the fire button to dispatch your foes before their manic patterns cause you to lose energy. Also like a shooting game, Karnov's life meter and his shooting power are inextricably linked. In this case, in a slightly more forgiving way, as Karnov doesn't lose power when he takes a hit so much as his weakened state prevents him from acquiring the next power level until replenished. You could call this a run-and-gun, but I think Karnov is best described as an arcade platformer with shooting game elements. In fact, it was an arcade game. Whenever I play this game, I always have a blast. The gameplay has a totally unique feeling to it, and it's a fantastic example of how the platforming and shooting genres can blend together in surprising and compelling ways to offer an experience that we're more likely to see as a platformer, but experience in the same way as a shoot-'em-up. A legendary arcade game from the makers of R-Type, Legend of Hero Tanma by Irem is another platformer that feels more like a shooting game. If you don't like Karnov, or you have easier access to a PC engine, then I recommend you take a look at this one. Tanma translates from Japanese as idiot, which perhaps explains a bit our hero's strange dress, blank expression, lilting gait, and surprising fragility. I could be fooled though, if it weren't for some of the strange patterns he sometimes fires, because the amount of firepower at this man's disposal begs to differ. Perhaps a bumbling magician, Tanma nevertheless lacks not in determination as he lurches forward on his quest through mostly short levels, followed by some impressively fun and mildly challenging boss battles. A joy to play, Tanma's unforgivingness is akin to a lot of games in the shooting genre, to which Irem tips its hat with this formula, but it somehow always invites the player to start again. One of my absolute favorites on the PC Engine, I can't recommend it enough. Front Mission Gun Hazard, a Left in Japan role-playing game from Squaresoft, is actually a side-scrolling run-and-gun game in which you control a mech with customizable components, punching, machine gunning, grenading, and missile launching your way through a complex plot about a futuristic world at war. I wanted to give this game a mention at this point because it's a key example of a game which fell naturally into the arc of Squaresoft in the 90s, but was never given a Western release. Probably because it's a mech shooter with a slow-moving and somewhat cerebral story, which is dark science fiction a la Final Fantasy VI. Even the art and music have the same operatic quality as 6, my favorite Final Fantasy. The battle mechanics are similar to other side-scrolling mech games like Assault Suit Lanos, but are exceptionally good in this case. From your fully equipped HQ, which offers a myriad of upgrades for your mech and items for sale, you are airlifted around the world and dropped into combat zones where you must complete various quests to advance the story. For those of you role-playing fans, this should be a treat. For the rest, this should be a nice break that falls in line neatly with our trajectory while offering quite a different experience from most of the rest of the games on this list. There is indeed a translation patch available for this game, and at this time this video is being made, you can also find cheap English patched repros on eBay. This game is pretty fucking cool. Holy shit! What the fuck is this game? This amazing Mega Drive title is a rare case of a game that had NA and EU releases, but no release in Japan. I'm not sure quite how to classify this game since it feels like an adventure game, but where you control an underground spaceship with big guns, and the gameplay is a solid mix of action and puzzling. Of course, aliens are attacking, and each mission you're given a set of objectives, and some markers are placed on the map, but otherwise you're given free control to travel and explore where you wish. Some of these objectives include rescuing stranded miners, collecting various items, and destroying alien ships. Some of the more interesting mechanics include a limited fuel supply, which must be replenished by collecting fuel tanks, various weapon selections, highly interactive terrain and sprites, and even rails to which you can attach your ship and glide around without expending fuel. It really has it all. The graphics are fantastic. The music is some of the best on the Mega Drive and suits the environment perfectly. And the puzzles are just the right level of difficulty. The controls can be an adjustment, but once gotten used to, work very well. Overall, an amazing game, and I don't know why people aren't talking more about it. This next game falls in a category I like to call the no-scroll shooter. Don't be fooled. While you're playing these games, you are playing buttons-to-bones shoot-'em-ups. as classic as they come. But you might forget it while you're playing because the fantasy, adventure, role-playing tones that come from these games will really fool you. I had actually selected 3 titles, but settled on Twinkle Tale, the least difficult of the bunch. Now that doesn't mean that Twinkle Tale isn't a difficult game. It is. It's just the least difficult of the bunch, while still being pretty fun to pick up and play, with a mild learning curve, and can be said to be enjoyable regardless of what context you're coming from. The gameplay is very classic and offers a lot of opportunity to strategize as you select from 3 weapons: a medium strength spread shot, a forward shooting strong shot, and the weakest of the bunch, a homing shot, which helps you in situations where you have to maneuver a lot. Special attacks of several varieties are available in limited quantities. This formula forms the basis of so many successful shooting games that Twinkle Tale, as a transitional game on this list, is happily also highly representative of the shooting genre. Its initial charm helps you see past its difficulty, and it's a good title to start to feel the pain that shoot-'em-up enthusiasts know so well. It's about learning to see through that pain to the glory that is mastery that starts so many a shooting addiction. Magical Chase. Wow. You know, there's a reason that this PC Engine HuCard title is going for prices in the thousands these days. The best summary I can provide of this game is pure fun. Magical Chase is, above all, a shooting game. But even for a shooting game, it is undoubtedly one of the greatest games ever made. It's like hooking your veins up to a pure dopamine drip. Let the light of Magical Chase shine on your life. As ideal an introduction into the shooting genre as can be imagined, Magical Chase continues our journey into hybrids with a neat crossover into the shooting genre whilst still staying clearly within the realm of fantasy. Some similar mechanics make their return here. Magical Chase features an admittedly less diverse but still enjoyable weapon system, as well as the addition of 2 options, referred to here as Star Maidens, which change their firing direction to the reverse of that in which the heroine moves. There is a periodic shop where you can buy power-ups and items to aid you on your journey. The stages are sufficiently long, and the boss battles are all pretty unique and fun. Magical Chase is exceptional in every area. Amazingly beautiful, but not overly cute graphics complement an amazingly composed soundtrack of variations on a theme. Add to that core gameplay, which is interesting, diverse, and offered in 3 distinct difficulties that feel almost as perfect as one can imagine. This is the full package, and it's no surprise that it commands the price that it does. Considering the games out there worth thousands, Magical Chase is closest to its real value of the bunch. A little bird knows a way you can try it without paying the premium. One must ask oneself, what could possibly follow a game like Magical Chase? Well, Biohazard Battle for the Mega Drive is a humble but gracious follow-up that will capture your attention while resetting your expectations in terms of gameplay. Yes, here's a stock a shooter as they come. The mechanics are dead simple, and even boring to the veteran shoot-'em-up enthusiast.
but it's compelling nonetheless with its creepy sci-fi vibe, again masterful use of the Mega Drive's sound chip, and fast-paced action which is occasionally overwhelming but never particularly difficult. Best described as a starter shooter, Biohazard Battle won't hold your attention for a long time, but you'll get a kick out of continuously revisiting it. It's one of those games that sinks into your subconscious, and before long, you'll be wondering about it, wanting to play, and more so, wondering why in the hell such a weird game has come to your mind. But you won't be too upset because it's an atmospheric experience that, in the following 3 decades, has somehow failed to be sufficiently replicated.
To close out this list, I can't imagine a better game to leave you with than Gradius 5 for the PlayStation 2. Although the shoot-'em-up genre was already waning in popularity when the PlayStation 2 was released, probably in no small part due to the rise of 3D gaming, the famous band of Konami rebels, Treasure, released a real magnum opus in partnership with their former studio. Gradius 5 is a reimagining of the Gradius series, the definitive series that is probably what most people immediately think of when they hear the words shoot 'em up. Gradius 5 manages to be more accessible than previous entries in the series, while also being unbelievably long and gradually becoming difficult to eventually eclipse previous Gradius games in terms of its difficulty. What makes this game so great is the level design, which offers a diverse set of challenges that you, as the player, decide how to face in the ship selection screen. Depending on which model you select, you gain the ability to control your options in various ways. This mechanic is cool because it's so simple, while still being something innovative that was never seen in a Gradius game before it. It's a difficult game, but gets difficult slowly, so you'll be enjoying yourself immensely far before the realities of its difficulty begin to dawn on you. It's the crown jewel of the Gradius series, in my opinion, and the perfect game to hook you into the genre for keeps. If you want to know more about Gradius 5, I highly recommend Mike Matei's Gradius 5 review, link in the description below.
You need some practice.
Well guys, that's it for my video. If you made it this far, I want to thank you for sticking around. This is my first attempt to make a video, and the quality has been a little bit variable throughout the process as I've been learning. If you like what you saw, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you decide to try this list out for yourself, let me know what happened in the comments below. Thanks a lot.